next Pokemon game to be receiving a remake is going to be Pokemon Black and White or Generation 5. And now the next Pokemon remake must be amazing. And the reason why is because Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, which are the Generation 4 remakes, just didn't really hit well with most people out there. Like, a majority of Pokemon fans out there didn't really enjoy these games as much as we thought we would. Typically, remakes are super fun. And honestly, in most cases, Pokemon remakes actually enhance the first game that it's based on. Pokemon Leaf Green and Fire Red are debatably better than the originals just because they enhance the game, which obviously is like, kind of the same story overall, but it just enhances the game in its entirety. Heart Gold and Soul Silver are debatably some of the best Pokemon games of all time, and those are remakes of Generation 2. Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are debatably some of the best remakes out there, and those are based on the Generation 3 games, the original Gen 3 games. And unfortunately, the Generation 4 remakes are regarded as probably the worst, if not one of the worst Pokemon games of all time. And now, I'm not saying that from my own opinion, I'm just kind of throwing that out there because that's what a lot of people actually do think. Now, I actually enjoyed Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, but as far as the remake goes, I definitely think we needed a lot more. They are still fun games to play. If you've never played Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, I think you should still try it out. I mean, they're not very expensive. You could really buy one for like $30 or something like that. So they're fun games, but they just failed to really push the game to the next step and like to the modern day world with a twist to it. Typically, Pokemon remakes are not the most faithful thing ever. What I mean by that is that they don't copy the storyline and basically just copy and paste it to more modern graphics, which is exactly what they did with Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. If you guys hear something in the background, it's pouring rain right now. I've been waiting all day to record this, and the second I start to record, it just starts pouring, but kind of adds to the aesthetic of the video, and it's kind of peaceful. Not sure if the mic is even picking it up, but I'm just gonna throw that out there. Generation 5 remakes need to be amazing. Generation 5, which is Unova, has such a strong narrative. The remake really needs to keep the idea of, the themes, like the truth versus ideals or nature versus technology. We need to have the upgraded visual and animation side of things, of course, which is kind of standard for a remake of a video game. Like, every single remake of any video game needs to have upgraded visuals, upgraded animations, graphics, whatever it may be. I think it would be great if we had voice acting. It would really add to the emotional scenes of things. Pokemon Black and White and Black and White 2 have some of the coolest storylines out there. Now, I don't really know exactly what they're gonna do with Black and White and Black and White 2 remakes because, Black and White and Black and White 2 are separate video games. They are not the same game. You don't even play as the same trainer. I recently finally played through Black and White 2 for the first time. I played Black and White as a kid, and for whatever reason, ever played those games and ever had those games. I think right after Black and White came out and I played through those games, that was kind of like the age where I kind of fell out of Nintendo stuff and Pokemon stuff because I was too cool for it, you know what I'm saying? But now I have an entire YouTube channel that I post daily videos to about Pokemon, so kind of a funny world that we live in. Quickly, before we get to the rest of the video, I just want to say, if you guys don't mind subscribing to the channel, turning on the post notifications, help me reach my goal of 30,000 subscribers before the end of the summertime. Any support just really goes a long way. Like, even you just watching this video is enough for me. So I just want to say thank you for watching this far in the video. Hope you stay tuned to the rest of the video. If you want to check out my second channel, Fundores Clips, I'm trying to reach 500 subs over there, and I basically post some exclusive clips from my live streams and everything like that. I also just made a Patreon, link is in the description, but obviously no pressure at all to join it. Just there if you want to help further support the channel, but no worries if not, of course. Anyways, back to the rest of the video. With Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, it was just too faithful. It was too safe. It wasn't ambitious enough. The chibi art style, people didn't really like. I personally don't mind the chibi art style at all. I think if the game had a better storyline overall, I think people would have been completely different about the chibi art style. I don't think they would have really complained. I think Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl are one of the games where just like everybody complains about everything with it, which they're not terrible games. Like, I don't think it's the worst Pokemon game ever made. I definitely don't think it's the best. It's definitely down there on the list. Like, it's definitely near the worst. But the art style just didn't really land well for most people. People want a modern feel with the original, source material art style. A lot of people do like Legends Arceus. I know that's not a remake, but that makes me think that, like, if Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, if those remakes were the art style of Legends Arceus, not the gameplay, I'm just specifically talking about the art style here, would people have complained so much about that or no? It's hard to say. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, I feel like had pretty cool art style, which I think everyone agrees with that. Like, it resembles the OG, the Source games, the original Gen 3 games, but also makes it more modern and advanced. So a lot of people also want additional side or post-game content. Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire had the Delta episode, which is pretty awesome. With a Generation 5 remake, we could really expand on the overall lore of the Unova region. I think it'd be awesome to see like the original OG, you know, Dragon, the before Zekrom, Kyurem, and Reshiram split up. Although that probably would be a better storyline for like a Legends game based on Black and White. Generation 5 remakes are 100% going to happen. A lot of people think that, you know, Game Freak Nintendo skipped Generation 5 remakes for Gen 6, but Pokemon Legends ZA is actually not a remake. This is a completely separate game. It's part of the Legends series. It's still a mainline game, but it's not a remake. So we're still going to get Gen 6 remakes eventually after Pokemon Black and White and Black and White 2. So the real Gen 6 remakes are still like a long time away because remakes don't really happen all that often. It's every like, I don't know, 6-7 years or something like that we get a remake, which who knows? In the future they could, you know, make them come out quicker, come out every maybe 3 or 4 years. Who knows? And Black and White 2 is the first ever, like, real, true sequel to a Pokemon game. So it's going to be really interesting. Like, are they going to drop Black and White 2 remakes together, like, in one copy? Or are they going to do Black and White remakes and then wait another, you know, 6, 7, whatever, how many years to do the Black and White 2 remakes? I think it would probably make more sense to do it as one collection because, you know, you'd think that they would have to have the same animation and art style. So, you know, a 7-year gap in between Black and White 2 remakes would definitely be enough time to have a totally different technology to build Pokemon games and have a different art style. Wouldn't really make sense. So I don't know. I think they should just drop it as one game. Let me know what you think about that though. Generation 5 remakes should not be faithful. Obviously, it still has to be like the same game overall, but there needs to be additional content. You know, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire introduced Mega Evolutions to Generation 3. This game, Pokemon Generation 5, it'd be awesome if it actually did put Mega Evolutions in the game, but I just don't see them doing that. I don't really know what other evolution / battle gimmick they would really use because I feel like nothing hits the same quite like Mega Evolution. I think most fans actually do prefer Mega Evolution over anything else. So I don't know, maybe some sort of brand new evolution gimmick they could introduce, or maybe even just a super nice post game, like a really insane post game, which Black and White already does have a crazy post game. So I don't know what they would do, but they would need to switch it up like a post game of the post game, or just way more additional side features, maybe open up some more areas of the map, which Pokemon Black and White 2 did. The thing with Pokemon Black and White 2 is that these games are so in-depth and debatably some of the best Pokemon games ever made that it's kind of like, what the heck could they add to these games to really make it stand out? You know what I mean? And that's kind of why a little part of me, like a very tiny part of me, thinks that they're going to give us like an open world style game for the Generation 5 remakes. They're going to be the Gen 5 remakes, but in like a Scarlet and Violet kind of open world sense. Obviously, they wouldn't look like Scarlet and Violet. I'm just using that as an example game because Scarlet and Violet were open world Pokemon games. But then when you think about that, you could just say again, oh well, they'd probably just would do a Legends game. So it's kind of hard to predict what exactly they would do for the Black and White 2 remakes. However, all I know is it needs to be ambitious. It needs to do something extra. It needs to build upon the lore. It needs to set itself apart from the original games while keeping, you know, the whole soul and heart of the original games, like, you know, the in-depth storyline and all the, you know, cool characters that pop in here and there, but it needs to add on to that. I did actually do a video with Nintendo, the other Pokemon YouTuber, kind of going in depth more about like what we think should be in a new Black and White remake or a Black and White Legends game. You know, what would be really interesting is if we play Black and White or Black and White 2, but as like a different character, like a different perspective, like we play as N or something like that. That could be something kind of crazy. I feel like it'd be kind of difficult for them to like have the whole storyline flow the same, but something like that could be super interesting. And like I brought up earlier, they could still expand the map into, you know, new and different unique ways. We could have different flashbacks from the past, so like we could actually learn more about the past of the Unova region while still playing, you know, the same overall game, but just have those flashbacks that we could actually play in and like, you know, do things in to kind of give that game that extra, you know, like step up of like, oh dang, this is cool because we didn't get this in Black and White or Black and White 2. We need to have some new additional stuff that really pushes the boundaries that we haven't done before. Now the Switch 2 is out. By the time I'm posting this video, the Switch 2 has officially released, which is crazy, and I think the future of Pokemon games is going in a good direction. I actually just kind of talked about this in my last video, but you know, Scarlet and Violet are getting an upgrade for free for the Switch 2 where it's 60 FPS and, you know, more Pokemon are spawning in, the graphics look a little bit better, which is great. Like, that's so awesome that Nintendo and Game Freak are doing that because, you know, we kind of deserve it as the fans, I feel like, in a way, because those games really ran so poorly. I had so many issues with Scarlet and Violet. Some people in the comments, though, have said that they don't have any issues, and they never had issues. I'm like, well, that's crazy because I had a lot, and pretty much every other person that played Scarlet and Violet had a lot of bugs and issues. But, you know, I'm excited to play it. I don't have a Switch 2 yet. I'm trying to get one, and I will be trying to, live stream Scarlet and Violet on the Switch too. It'd be cool to get some regional variants. Like, that could be a thing that they add within this game, because regional variants weren't actually a thing yet when Pokemon Black and White first came out. The first ever regional variant was Gen 7 with Pokemon Sun and Moon. I know a lot of people don't think that they should ever make regional variants for like past generations, but I think it would make sense, especially since I feel like there's not too much they could add to the Unova region because it's already such a great game. So I think regional variants would be super cool. Maybe some more like interactive things with multiplayer, like, we could have some more online capabilities, maybe even see other players online, some more seasonal stuff, kind of like exclusive, festivals, or new Pokemon to the Generation 5 lineup, which I don't know exactly if that would make too much sense, but, would be super cool. Imagine exploring En's castle. Now that would be awesome. We could see a ton of like new Pokemon, new puzzles, new lore, maybe some new boss fights with different legendary Pokemon that weren't in the games or something like that. And of course, a post game that would be kind of like the Delta episode where it's like just super, super dope. That would be awesome. What would be kind of cool is like after you play the Black and White storyline, then you do like a brand new post game, and then that leads you directly into the Black and White 2 remake part of the game. If it's on one cartridge, like one collection game with Black and White 2 remakes, which we don't play as the same character in Black and White and Black and White 2, so they'd have to do something to make sense of us, being a different trainer. And obviously, they would have to have some new fan service elements, like return of the battle subway, obviously, like I said earlier, voice acting. We need voice acting. Pokemon World Tournament 2.0, that would be super awesome. Customizable player homes, or just obviously, customizable clothing and outfits and accessories is definitely what we need. And I would want them to bring back the following Pokemon. Like, I want Pokemon to be able to follow us again. I don't know why we can't have that in every Pokemon game, because it's such a cool feature, and I would absolutely love that. And especially with a game like this, it'd be kind of perfect for them to add it, because why not? Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment down below stuff that you would want to see in a Generation 5 Black and White remake or Black and White 2 remake, and exactly like what you think that they would need to succeed, because the next remakes need to be good, especially since the Generation 4 remakes just didn't really hit with most people out there. But hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching this far in the video. If you are real on watching this far in the video, comment down below your favorite drink of all time, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe. See you next time. Peace.
Someone